Hey everybody, it's time for our next session. Multi-tool Forge, building LTI apps to fill LMS gaps. So I will be presenting this along with my colleagues, David Bauer from University of Dayton, Dr. Adam Marshall, who's going to be joining us by video. He recorded it ahead of time, and Adrian Fish from AR Fish and Learning Experiences. So, this is us. We're all part of the PMC for the brand new Apereo incubation project, MuLTItool Forge. So David is our vice chair, and I'm the chair of the PMC for this new project. And Adam and Adrian are also PMC members. Our agenda today is to explain what MuLTItool Forge is, and then we'll take a look at some of the tools that are going to be in or already are part of the MuLTItool Forge. So we'll be taking a quick look at tools from Oxford, from University of Dayton, UCF, Indiana University, and then we'll talk a little bit about how you can join, contribute, or adopt our tools. So I'll try to keep it moving along because I want to spend a lot of good time on the tools themselves. Um, so what is MuLTItool Forge? Well, essentially, it's a new open source initiative. It's a brand new community to build LTI tools for higher ed. So we found that a lot of institutions have been building their own tools in silos. So they've been creating their own tools to fill unique needs that aren't necessarily filled within the LMS. But they end up building them locally, and then it's difficult to share them, whether it's they don't have the time to make it ready to be more public and remove all their localizations, or they just don't have the bandwidth to promote and publicize the tools. So the solution is to create this community where we can collaborate and co-develop these tools to make sure that they're refined, openly licensed, tested. And it's not a single application, it's a collection of LMS agnostic tools. So the goal is to build a collection of tools that could be used in any LMS, whether it's Sakai or Canvas or D2L or Moodle, things that can go across the borders of whatever enterprise LMS you might be using. So again, our goals are to bridge the gap. So to create these tools for features that are maybe missing or under optimized, where people may be migrating from one system to another, miss this handy little thing that they used to have. They can kind of plug that hole with a tool that's made to fit. To adhere strictly to standards. So we want to do standards first. That keeps everything more easily compatible, more easily supported across LMSs. So we want to strictly enforce the LTI standard. It is an open source repository, so we want all projects within it, all the tools within it to be released with an open source license. And collaborative efficiency is really the process of not having to reinvent the wheel. So one university can build something, somebody else can come along and contribute to it. And instead of each rebuilding the same tool separately, we're working together to make a single tool better. And also with a larger community around it, we can have more people, more hands to ensure that every tool is rigorously private. It supports accessibility. We can test things more thoroughly. And then just collective stewardship to promote the collective maintenance and responsibility for institutions so that they're not spending public money reinventing things. They're working together to kind of more effectively use those resources. So our project, the initial phase of our project was just kind of having conversations with people. A lot of the founding members were current or former Sakai community members, And we were talking to people and kept hearing over and over again that they kind of missed when they've migrated away. They missed the collaboration and the community aspect of Sakai, being able to bounce ideas off of one another and to have those regular core team calls and to work with developers at a variety of institutions. And so they felt that lack of a collective space to work on tool development the way that they used to work on LMS development. And in some cases, they were actually recreating tools that so they could use them in their new LMS. Um, so we had conversations with lots of these folks and decided, hey, let's bring people together. These are some of the first batch, I guess, of institutions that are founding members that agreed that, hey, this is a pretty good idea. We should do this. And so we kind of came together to formalize the group and to make it more of a official community within Apereo. And we recently launched just this past month. We became an Apereo incubation project. That means that Apereo is our fiscal sponsor, so we can act as a legal entity if we need to, collect contributions or book hotel space or, do other things that you need a legal entity to do. Apereo serves that function as it does for all the other Apereo projects. We selected our monthly meeting schedule for MuLTItool Forge, which is the first Monday of the month at 11 a.m. Eastern. We formed our PMC and elected officers, as I mentioned, myself as the chair and David Bauer as the vice chair. And we have our website and our GitHub project set up for MuLTItool Forge. We also have our draft charter and governance documents that are already created. We haven't published them in GitHub yet. They're just kind of going through some final review, but those will be posted in GitHub very shortly. And so now we're moving into the contribution and sponsor phase. So with the project officially underway now, we're accepting code contributions from member institutions or anyone who would like to be a member. We have a wide variety of tools that are being added, and many of these have been in production at their home institution for a very long time. So it's not like they're brand new tools. They're tools that have already kind of been out there being used, but we're bringing them together and making them more generic so that they can be picked up and used more easily by other institutions. So now that they're in a central location, we can promote them, refine them, enhance them, and make them production ready for other institutions to adopt. We're also looking to, as part of the community, create sort of a support and services ecosystem around the project. So we are looking for sponsors to help fund our events or possibly development, and hopefully attract some commercial service providers as well that can provide hosting and deployment support for institutions that may want to adopt our tools but may not have the resources on campus to actually run them themselves. So, so all of that is again part of the ongoing contribution and sponsor phase. So this is our roadmap. Again, a little bit of recap. This June, we started collecting tool contributions. We started moving those repos into the MuLTIForge project repo. And then going forward, we're going to start looking at commonalities and maybe decreasing duplications because in terms of especially some of the libraries that have been contributed, there might be some duplication. So if we can consolidate and make things more efficient and update in one place, is the benefit to everybody. So that's going to be ongoing as we bring in new content, new tools, new libraries. We are looking to form a faculty advisory team in the fall to recruit some faculty and instructional designers to provide feedback on the tools and on features and usability. So we might have monthly meetings as well for that group. Yet to be determined when, since we haven't formed the group yet, but my goal would be to have those folks provide feedback to the tools that are in the Forge so that we can enhance them based on that end user input. And in January of next year, we're planning to hold our MuLTItool Forge camp. So if any of you have attended Sakai Camp in Orlando, this is very similar. It's going to be our first in-person multi-tool forge meeting. It'll be in Orlando and it's going to be hosted by UCF. So this gathering will be kind of a strategic planning retreat, also a hackathon, and we're still firming up the schedule, but it'll likely be held over at least a couple days, and there'll be some team building built around it. So more to come on that, but if you're interested, let me know and I can let you know what's going on with the planning there. And then following our Forge camp and ongoing, the hope is that we will start to build new tools together. So we will have the tools that are coming in from institutions, but as new features are suggested or as new gaps are found, we hope that the community will come together and start building those new apps as a community. So I'm going to play a short video from Adam Marshall at Oxford talking a little bit about the tools that they've developed. And I apologize, the video, the audio is a little crackly toward the after about 2 minutes in, but hopefully it's still good. So it's not the playback, it's the video itself, unfortunately. But here we go. Let me go ahead and play this for you. And oops, I don't know if I shared my sound. Hang on 1 second. Let me. Okay, yeah, I'm sharing sound. All right, here we go.
I'm Dr. Adam Marshall from Oxford University, and I'm really sorry I can't be with you today, but it's unavoidable, I'm afraid. So, I gave you the short version of the university's name there. It's actually called the Chancellor, Masters and Scholars of the University of Oxford. And it was founded in 1096, and there's always been an ongoing argument with Cambridge about who was founded first. Take it from me, Oxford was the first university, and Cambridge is a poor second. So, 1096, the whole thing started, and then, to be frank, nothing really happened until we got LMS. That was in 2003. It was slightly before my time. I arrived in 2004. And it was called Boddington, and it was an open source learning environment. It was before MuLTitool and before Sakai, actually, as well. So we ran with that for a while, but there wasn't really much development going on, and we couldn't really do it on our own. So we decided to switch to Sakai, and that was very, very successful. I think most people realised that Sakai was an awful lot better than Boddington, and we used that for a number of years until we moved to Canvas in 2020. 2020 was when the worst effects of COVID hit. So it's a fairly good position to be in, actually, because basically everybody had to start using the online learning environment, whereas before there was a bit of resistance. So we really pitched in with Canvas, but there was some gaps in functionality, and this was identified when we purchased the system. And we realised that we were going to have to do a little bit of development, and it was considered to be the right thing to do, to move and then to do a little bit of development around the new system. So there were a few sort of gaps in the tool set. One of them was the fact that people had got used to using Sakai tools, and they just weren't there in Canvas. So one of the things we did was to have a look at the most popular Sakai tools, which ones couldn't we do without, and do something about it. Now, surveys was identified, and the Sakai survey tool was very good, actually, but we didn't really do anything about that. Well, I think we were basically expecting Instructure to do something, and they sort of didn't really. So we still don't really have a survey tool, but we do have some of the other Sakai tools, which were very important to our user base. So one of the most popular ones that we've got is the calendar import. So that's, and there's a screenshot of this in a minute. But that's where you have a CSV file of events, and you can just read that CSV file in, and it will inflate a calendar for you. So that one is open source. It's available in GitHub. It's part of the Forge suite of tools. The other ones listed there, as you can see, aren't actually in the tool set yet, but they will be. It's just a case of us open sourcing them, and we're sort of partway through doing this, as you might imagine, it's not really top priority for the university, especially after the recent Canvas whoopsie daisy. Eyes are focused on security a bit more these days, but these tools will be there. So we will have an export members tool. Should be members, not member. And that's again very similar to the one that you know and love in Sakai. Calendar export. So that's get your course calendar or whatever printed out onto a PDF, which you can pin on the wall, stick on your door, whatever it is you want to do with a calendar PDF. And there's another little tool we've written to allow you to sync your Canvas calendars with your Outlook calendar or Google calendar, whatever it might be. And the good old sign up tool. So we wrote this for Canvas as a standalone tool, and it became apparent that it would be far better if it was like an assignment. So in much the same way as in most LMSs, I guess you can have actually external tools as assignments. You go off to this tool, do this thing, and send the mark back. Well, it's a similar scenario with the assignment tool. You don't really ever send the mark back, but you can place these things, in the general kind of workflow of a course. So if you want to schedule a seminar or one-to-one meeting or whatever, really, an event of some sort, you can have that in the sort of normal course of events. So we've got those tools. We don't think we've got any more, at least no major ones. There might be the odd little sort of learning tool. These are all sort of administration tools, really, but they are for students as opposed to administration tools for staff. So there was a bit of a gap with Canvas's administration tools as well. It's very good at generating reports. You can run reports about absolutely anything, and they're absolutely fine. But there is a little delay between you saying I want this report running and it actually running, and it gets a bit frustrating sometimes waiting. So we've written some tools to let you download already existing reports, and also there are some sort of custom reports for the central administration as well in there. Canvas has got good section support, but it's not very easy to put people in to the section. So we will open source that, but at the moment the code is a bit of a disaster area. It works perfectly okay, but we are fully intending to rewrite it, and then it'll be open sourced. And then a little utility to help you go from the course to the parent sub-account. Got some infrastructure stuff as well, which basically allows the tools that you've seen above to work. We've got something that handles authentication and sort of proxying between Canvas. We've got a little UI library to save you constantly redoing the same things when you're writing pages. We've got some utilities for letting people develop Java more easily. Got a little deployment test framework, which really just sort of says, here's the tool that is this button showing. So it's really simple. It doesn't test, you haven't broken anything, it tests the tool's come up and it's working. And then we've got some AWS configuration, which I'm not sure people would actually use, but it's probably useful for them to see how we're doing stuff and get ideas. So it's slightly short on time, but there's some screenshots. So this is the way you would import CSV into a calendar. There's a link to download an example kind of CSV file which you can fill in, and then you just basically drag your CSV up into that box, click import, and you can see your previous imports as well and see what they were if that's your desire. This is the account reports tool. So this is the front page with some useful reports you might run as an administrator, and the other tabs let you retrieve previously run reports. And here's one where you can go and find a system import from a particular date and see what was in it. So if you've imported some users last year, you can go find the file that you did it, that you ran, and see what was in it. And then there's the sign-up tool. It looks a little different now, but it's a bit like Sakai 1. You have slots, you have maximum attendees, calendars, and all that sort of thing. And this is the, not quite the student view, but it's sort of about what the student would see, and they can click on a sign-up or a seminar, an event, whatever, and sign up for it. So sorry that's a bit of a rush, but if you've got any questions, then email that address, and I'm sure Will will be able to forward anything on if you ask her. Anyway.
I'm going to turn it over to David now to talk about the University of Dayton tools. And David, I made you co-host, so you should be able to share whenever you're ready.
Wilma, do you mind just sharing and I can tell you when to skip a slide?
No worries. All right, go ahead. Just tell me next.
Yeah, if you want to just go to the first slide and then the next one. Yeah, so hi everybody. I'm David Bauer. It's nice to see some familiar names, even though we're not, looking at each other face to face. But I was originally years ago hired at UD as a web developer, specifically like only working on Sakai. That was the only thing I did when I was first hired at UD. So I now lead academic research and emerging technologies here, but that also still includes the LMS and the kind of development team and academic systems team and all that. So I think I kind of wanted to give some context to some of the tools we have that we're hoping to share and kind of our new approach. So I thought I'd kind of go through our timeline just really briefly. It's really a familiar story that I'm sure you've kind of heard, and even what Adam shared some of his video. Um, but we were on WebCT, and then in 2008, so many years ago, we adopted Sakai as our LMS. And those kind of first years with Sakai, we had an in-house development team here, a small team. I mean, we've only maximum of 2 people in any time. But we really took to kind of tailoring Sakai to our faculty needs and really kind of heavily customized it. And that really drifted us from the community and from the kind of out of the box version of Sakai early on. Um, but in that time, we spent a lot of times kind of heavily customizing lessons. We built our own tools for various things, like we have a digital drop-off tool for Writing Center, and the attendance tool in Sakai was something I can't remember which year that was that we addressed that, but we were really inwardly focused early on, and then around 2016, I think we that was when we adopted Sugi, and that started to look at how do we start contributing more to Sakai, to the LMS? How do we, when we want to build a new feature, right, the kind of load of building that into the LMS natively was getting larger, and with still a small team, right, we wanted to make that a little bit easier. So we started focusing more on rate standards and LTI and trying to find things that were a little bit more portable. So we kind of continued that way for years. I think it was I was looking, it was like 2020 was we merged back like 100 of our customizations to back into lessons or something. I mean, we really tried to kind of get a little bit closer to the community version. Um, Unfortunately, we hit a point in fall 23 where the campus decided to switch LMSs, and we did a very rapid migration, really. We spring 24 to fall was when we moved to Canvas. And in that time, we realized that there was a lot of stuff that our faculty were used to in the LMS that is not going to be part of the LMS. Canvas has some real gaps to it that some which we were willing to accept and others that we really wanted to kind of make up for. Um, so we kind of launched fully on Canvas in fall 24, and our big focus since then has been about how do we kind of close those major gaps, right? Keep the LMS as close to out of the box as we can, but then kind of fill in those other pieces. Wilma, if you want to go to the next one. I'll be mindful of the time. So our kind of new approach, our new philosophy to this over the last few years, it's really kind of it's so perfectly aligned with the MuLTItool Forge project. So this really kind of resonated with us when everyone was talking about this, and it's something that we haven't articulated, but we've been doing for years now. But was really switching to the new LMS, there was a lot of chance for us to kind of retire a lot of old habits, workarounds, things that have just built up since 2008. But we really knew that there were things that were missing, like I said. And so a lot of what we wanted to do was re-go through all of our customizations, our work, our tools, and kind of rebuild that as portable LTI tools. Um, so really, like I said, keeping the LMS out of the box. Well, we can go to the next slide. I'll try to quickly get through that. So the big kind of first thing we did was we wanted to still use the attendance tool. The attendance tool in Canvas is garbage, if you'll excuse my language. And so we said, I think this is an opportunity for us to kind of completely rebuild our Sakai attendance tool, but let's build it as a portable LTI tool that really could be available in any LMS. So we try to kind of focus on what were the kind of core features that people really liked. The take attendance now button, right, to just kind of quickly start taking attendance, being able to kind of click or bulk change student statuses, seeing the roster kind of statistics and grading for as you take attendance, right, or to see which events were less attended at a glance or whatever it is. So we tried to keep those kind of core features that really worked well, or we thought we worked well, and get rid of some of the stuff that people weren't printing sign-in sheets and stuff like that anymore. So we wanted to kind of remove some of that, and then add in some new stuff. So, Wilma, if you want to go to the next slide. Um, so some of the new stuff we did in the rebuild was um, we focused on how do we create like bulk create attendance items based on like a class schedule. So this is something that'll be a little bit hard to make generic, but you're able to kind of import your schedule and it'll bulk make all of your attendance items ready for you. We have digital credentials here on campus. So we have NFC readers that we will loan out to faculty, and you can actually tap to check in to an event. So the faculty member can pull it up in the tool, and users can walk by and tap their card to check in for attendance. We wanted to make the attendance statuses much more custom, so different icons, availability. You can relabel stuff, enable, disable things. And then we really simplified the grading process. There was a lot of rules-based grading and automatic grading, and that was one of the things we wanted to just try to simplify. Wilma, if you want to go to the next slide. So some of the other stuff we did was, so attendance was a completely rebuild when we switched, and that's something that we'd love to contribute back and kind of get some fresh look at that tool. But then some of the stuff was just kind of familiar tools that we had shared or partially shared, that were just Sugi tools that we were really looking to just refresh and rethink as we get more involved with the MuLTItool Forge project. So one of which was shout outs, if you haven't seen this one, where students can give each other kind of shout outs throughout the course, and then there's kind of a leaderboard of who's earned the most shout outs and all that kind of stuff, and there's kind of these pre-built little badges or icons for those shout outs. If you want to go to the next one, I think this is my last slide. So some of the other tools, so a lot of what we're doing right now at least is really just kind of going back through and looking at our tools. What's the adoption been over the years, like what do we want to kind of rethink a little bit, and some of those are topic selector. That was one we just completely rebuilt very recently. A few weeks ago is when we finished it, which is like signups for presentations. Instructor has a lot of control over capacity and making selections for students and stuff like that. Token app economy, that's where instead of having kind of like a late policy or anything, students get a certain number of tokens and they can use those for excused work or late work or whatever that is, and that's set up by the instructor and approved. We have a few dips into kind of AI-enabled tools. So critique is one where the instructor creates a kind of a prompt. Each student gets an AI-generated response to that prompt, and then the instructor also provides questions that the student should answer to analyze the generated response as part of the assignment. Other things that were just missing from Canvas that we really wanted to focus on was around how do we kind of form better, improved processes like getting final grades into Banner or SIS, as well as just a lot of admin utilities, kind of typical things that we would do because we had access to Sakai. We were locally hosted, we were on-prem, we could run custom reports and queries directly and all that. And how do we kind of recreate that in a cloud-based environment? So yeah, I think that's all I have.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Dave. Um, I do have a list of tools from UCF and also from Indiana University. Unfortunately, those folks couldn't be here today to present them, so I am going to go through these pretty quickly, but I wanted to give people an idea of some of the other tools that will be joining the Forge. So UCF is going to be contributing some of their tools to help build tools. So they have some LTI templates that they've put together that can help people create LTI tools. They've also got a few more faculty-facing tools. There's one for quiz extensions. There's another for what they call faculty tools that houses all their custom LTIs in one place. And they have a due date changer, which allows people to change dates for multiple things on the same page. I don't have screenshots of everything, but this is one of the faculty tools. It sort of groups the LTI tools together in the under one item in the left nav, so you can have multiple things that would show up there. And it's customizable, obviously, by the institution. UCF also has a few other library type tools. They have a Canvas API that they use to help manage courses, users, etc. And then they've got a few other sort of helper type tools for creating LTIs. From Indiana University, they've actually been on Canvas for quite a long time. So they've rebuilt a lot of stuff. So they have 4 pages of tools. I'm not going to spend time going through each of these, but I will make the slides available if you want more information. But some of these you may recognize as former Sakai tools. Some are, let me see, like the IU photo roster. That's basically the similar to the Sakai roster. Um, there's the View'em, which is similar to the Postum tool. Things like that that they sort of rebuilt. So there's a wide variety of tools from IU, and we're really excited about being able to incorporate those as well. So let me just tell you briefly, I know we're a little over time, but we're right up against lunch, so I figure I got some leeway. Um, how to join, contribute, or adopt. Real briefly, you have the website, which I pasted in the chat. You can reach us on these other places. And for next steps, if you wanted to join our monthly call, it's first Monday of the month, 11 a.m. Eastern. You're welcome to lurk. You can also connect with us on the mailing list, Slack, or visit us on GitHub. And if you have tools that you want to contribute, feel free to email me directly and let me know, wilma.hodges@apereo.org. And also, if you are interested in adopting one of our tools, but you don't have the technical resources to do the hosting and development on your local campus, feel free to reach out and talk to me as well, because Red Willow Solutions, Stellar Code, and ARFish, that's me, Errol, and Adrian, we're teaming up to provide some services for select MuLTItool Forge apps. So if you're interested in something like that, let us know and we can talk with you about options. So, any questions? All right. Well, we are out of time, actually a little overtime. So I will go ahead and wrap up.